Welcome to Module 7 of this course. Here we'll discuss the ethics, risks, and governance of generative AI. Now, in the previous modules, you learned how to build and use large language models. You learned about tokenization, encoders, decoders, and how to fine-tune your own model. But with great power comes great responsibility. That's a line from Spider-Man. And in this module, we'll see why it is so relevant for building AI. We'll talk about hallucinations, bias, misinformation, and the broader problem of AI alignment. We'll examine laws like the EU AI Act and principles around responsible AI. And you'll learn techniques to mitigate these risks such as transparency, explainability, and fairness auditing. By the end of this module, you'll know how to develop and use AI not just technically but ethically. The field of AI ethics is vast and interdisciplinary. It touches upon philosophy, law, sociology, and many other fields. This module is just an introduction to some of the most important topics. If you want to dive deeper into this subject, we recommend checking out the references in the course description. Let's start by talking about bias. In the previous modules, you learned that language models are trained on large amounts of data, and they learn the patterns in that data. But what happens if the data contains biases? For example, if the training data only includes news from one particular source, or if the data is labeled incorrectly, or if the data is incomplete. These issues can lead to unfair or inaccurate predictions, which can then result in biased outcomes. One way to mitigate bias is to use a technique called fairness auditing. Fairness auditing can help identify and mitigate bias in AI systems. This technique can be applied at various stages of the AI development life cycle, and it involves collecting and analyzing data to identify and mitigate bias. Another important issue is the generation of misinformation. Large language models are capable of generating realistic-looking text, images, audio, and video. This can be used to create fake news, propaganda, and other forms of misinformation. This can have serious consequences, such as the erosion of trust in institutions and the spread of conspiracy theories. To address this issue, we need to develop techniques to detect AI-generated content. We also need to educate users about the risks of misinformation and to develop policies and regulations to govern the use of AI-generated content. Another major concern is the potential for large language models to be used for malicious purposes. For example, they could be used to create convincing phishing attacks or to automate social engineering attacks. They could also be used to generate malware or to create deep fakes used for blackmail or to spread propaganda. To address these concerns, we need to develop techniques to identify malicious content and to develop policies and regulations to govern the use of large language models for security purposes. Finally, we also need to consider the broader problem of AI alignment. As large language models become more powerful, it will be important to ensure that they remain aligned with human values and goals. This is a complex problem that requires interdisciplinary solutions. Fortunately, there has been a lot of work on this topic, and several organizations are actively working on developing solutions. One example is the AI Alignment Institute, which is an independent research organization that was founded in 2019. The mission of the AI Alignment Institute is to ensure that artificial intelligence benefits all humanity. The AI Alignment Institute is working on several projects to address the problem of AI alignment. One of their projects is the AI Safety and Ethics Toolkit, which is a free and open source toolkit that provides tools and resources for developers to build safe and ethical AI systems. Another project is the AI Alignment Forum, which is a forum for researchers and practitioners to discuss the problem of AI alignment and to share their work. The AI Alignment Institute is just one example of an organization that is working on this problem. There are many other organizations that are also making important contributions. Together, we can ensure that AI benefits all of humanity. In this module, we'll cover some of the most important topics in AI ethics, and we'll also discuss some of the latest research and development in this area. We hope that this module will help you become an ethical and responsible AI developer. This has been a quick introduction to Module 7. In the next lesson, we'll talk more about bias and fairness in generative AI. See you there.